Father, we bless you. Let your name be exalted in the name of Jesus. This is Joseph, part 18. And we're going to take our text from Genesis chapter 41, from verse 1 to 13. After Joseph interpreted the dreams of the chief butler in the previous chapter, he told him not to forget him when he get to the palace, but unfortunately, the man forgot him completely. But after 2 years, something happened. In verse 1 of Genesis chapter 41, the Bible revealed that Pharaoh the king had a dream, and these were the content of his dreams. I saw myself standing by the river. There came out of the river 7 well-favored kings and fat-fleshed, and they fed on the meadow. Another 7 kings came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fleshed, and they stood by the other king upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and the lean-fleshed king did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat king. Now you can see that in verse 1 to 4. These were the content of Pharaoh's dream. That was the first. These were the content of the first dream of Pharaoh. And after he woke from that dream, he slept again, and he had another dream. These are the contents of his second dream. 7 years of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good. Another 17 hairs, blasted with the east wind, spring up after them. And the 17 hairs devoured the 7 rank and full years. You can see that in verse 5 to 17. After the king had these 2 dreams, his spirit was troubled as he woke in the morning. He sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt and all the wise men in the land. Pharaoh then told them the content of his dreams, but none of them could interpret it. The first thing to note here is that the king had 2 different dreams, but he remembered them when he woke from sleep. Any dream you have that you cannot remember, you may not get an interpretation to, except if God chooses to have mercy on you, and that is usually uncommon. Such cases only happen during, we see such cases only happening during the time of Daniel. That was when the king had a dream and he could not figure out the context of the dream. So Joseph, by divine Daniel then, by divine inspiration now, brought the context of the dream and the interpretation. But that case is not usually common. So because the king could remember his dreams, the hope of getting an interpretation to it was established. Another thing to note is that there was no one in the land of Egypt who could interpret that dream. Not the magicians, not to talk of the wise men. The dark powers of the magician couldn't interpret that dream, and the wisdom of the wise men failed them. When a dream is given by God, only a child of God can unravel it. God delights in giving the keys of his mysteries to his children. When it was clear that there is nobody who had, sufficient spiritual stature to interpret the king's dream, then the chief butler came to the king and said, I do remember my fault this day, when Pharaoh was angry with his servant and put me in ward in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the chief baker. Then we dreamed a dream in one night, I and he. We dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dreams. And there was there with us a young man, an Hebrew servant, to the captain of the guard. And we told him, and he interpreted us our dreams. To each man according to his dream he did interpret. And it came to pass, as he interpreted to us, so it was. Me he restored unto me my office, and him he hanged. Verse 9 to 13. From the statement of the chief butler, we got to know that the prison where Joseph and and the servant of the king were thrown was in the house of the captain of the king's guard. That is Potiphar. That is where Joseph lived. Since Potiphar was the captain of the guard, he had a prison in his house. So Potiphar was like the inspector general of of police as at that time. It is also good to know that the chief butler forgot Joseph for complete 2 years. If not for what happened in the palace, he may not even remember him for life. God knows how to make people remember you for good, either by creating a situation around them or by printing your picture in their heart to favor you. The problem in the palace happened because God wanted to lift Joseph from prison to palace. When it is time for God to favor you, He can do it anyhow, anywhere, and anytime. May God give you keys that will solve problems in high places. May He give you keys that will open doors in high places. May He make your way prosperous. May He lead you to kings and the nobles in the name of Jesus. This is the wisdom of God. Don't sell it.